first, I want to start by telling you how did I pick my topic for this presentation. So I was in one burrito, and I was in the line thinking, what could I be presenting today? And I thought that being in that line was actually a problem that can be solved by an industrial engineer like me. And that's what we call the queuing theory. So for this presentation, I need you to know what queuing means. Does someone know what queuing means? Well, queuing means be formed in a line, waiting like these people are. So, have you ever spent, I want you to raise your hand, if you have ever spent more than 10 minutes in a waiting line. Yeah, well, as you can see, every one of you have been waiting more than 10 minutes, and it's not a surprise. Environmental statistics show that in average, a person waits 1 hour per day in a line. Can you imagine how much time do we lose in lines? Americans spend 912 days over a lifetime in waiting lines. That's a lot of time, right? So we can say that we got a problem with queuing. It's not only a problem for customers, but for companies. It's a problem for customers because small offices and uncomfortable places makes us anxious and impatient. And it's a problem for companies because they can lose considerable number of potential clients that are not able to wait. And it also is a problem because it can cause really high costs to the company, and that can reduce the utility of the company. So in the 80s, the Fortune magazine published this. Waiting is frustrating, demoralizing, agonizing, aggravating, annoying, time-consuming, and incredibly expensive. I think we all agree with this. So, do not panic. In 1909, AK Airline invented the first model that can actually represent a queue. If you can represent a real system that you're studying, it's possible to organize and plan the number of servers you got here and the capacity of the queue you will have. So that will make it more efficient. But there was an aspect of the queue that he didn't have in mind. But in the 50s, David Meister published The Psychology of Waiting Lines. And it's all based on this equation. Satisfaction of the client is going to be the same to the perception of the time you have been waiting, less the expectation of the time you should be waiting. So what he was trying to fix was how people perceive the time they have been waiting. So can you guess who's David Meister's biggest fan? Yeah, Walt Disney World. They took some ideas, I'm going to talk about three, of his theory and make things that could fix them. So the first one is that occupied time feels shorter than unoccupied time. So what does Walt Disney World do? While people are in the waiting rooms, there's always something they can see, something they can be interacting with, so they feel that they're not unoccupied and they're just not losing their time. The second thing is that anxiety makes waits seem longer. So if you're waiting in a line and you're a little bit stressed and you're getting impatient, you can see that this wait has been longer. So Walt Disney World make lots to do things in the line. That was like a campaign where people can actually do things while they were waiting in the lines, so they can get anxious. And the third thing is that uncertain waits are longer than known. So if we know how much time do we have to wait, it would be better than if we don't know. So that's what we call finite waits. What Disney World did was put in these panel indicators that shows you exactly the time it's left for you to get to the front of the line and actually be in the attraction. And it makes your wait better. So what we can do, as we saw in the solutions that Walt Disney World did, interaction, design, and comfort all together in the right amount can make that customers actually are happy while they're waiting. So the satisfaction of my client will go higher. So what benefits can we receive if we actually use these two theories? Well, if we implement the queuing theory, that is the mathematical model, we can actually reduce the time the person will be waiting. But if we implement the psychology of waiting lines, we can increase the client satisfaction, we can reduce costs, and we can gain customers' loyalty. So being able to implement these two theories will make the company better. An example of this is that in an experiment, there was a building with 4 elevators. In the rush hours, this elevator gets really occupied, and people were getting so stressed that the building was receiving so many complaints about it. So what did they decide to do? They couldn't just destroy the building and make a new one to put in more elevators. So they decided to implement the psychology of waiting lines. What did they do? They put mirrors around so that people, while they were waiting, could see them in the mirrors. The complaints were reduced to 0, and people stopped complaining. They actually could happier when they were waiting, and they can even flirt with people through the mirror. So yeah, thank you. That was